So, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and it is called that. I was surprised. Hi, Tyler, by the way. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Tommy.
But yeah, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I guess they decided to title it that because there's so many The Mummy movies, and they didn't want people to think, oh, is this another Tom Cruise one? Or
Yeah.
people to hope, oh, is this another Brendan Fraser one?
That's what they should have done. They should have been like, yeah, we're just re-releasing the Brendan Fraser version. Trust us. Come to the cinema.
Apparently, they are doing a Brendan Fraser legacy sequel with Rachel Weisz.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it's like, a question of, okay, we're doing this, but we don't want to muddy the water when eventually a new The Mummy comes out. Like, okay, it's Lee Cronin's take on The Mummy.
Yeah.
And who's Lee Cronin, you ask?
That's what everybody was asking. But I suppose because I haven't, I'll just preface this with saying I haven't seen this film yet. You have. So you're going to, either recommend it to me or not recommend it to me. I don't know your thoughts on the film yet. But all I know about this is, yes, it came with the title of Lee Cronin's The Mummy. And I was thinking, surely I know who Lee Cronin is. Like, because he's getting his name in the title of the film. But, there's another director called Sean Cronin.
Oh, you thought it was him?
Yes,
Okay.
he's a British director and he makes like gangstery type films. And he's not like a massively successful, but I actually met his daughter on holiday on a night out, and I was like, oh no way, Sean Cronin's making a Mummy, and he said this is his big break. And then I looked it up. I was like, this is not Sean Cronin. Who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy.
This is another Cronin, but you know this guy and you know his work, and I know that you don't like his work because he did the Evil Dead Rise movie.
Oh, I do remember looking this up. Yes. The director's showreel extended into 90 minutes. The film is what you could call that movie.
Okay, so maybe we can start from there. I did enjoy Evil Dead Rise.
I remember you saying.
I mean, I don't really remember it that well, so maybe that's already a bad sign because I usually,
I think you didn't like it that much,
Yeah,
maybe.
but like when I watched it, like the experience in the theater was fun, and I liked that it wasn't another house in the woods, but it was like this apartment building. The mom character was really creepy, so that there was some stuff that was done well in that film. So
there was definitely some bright spots in that film. The mum had a good performance, and visually, like I said, I made the joke that it's so over the top and stylized, and so he's definitely got a bit of a style. Does it transfer into this film? Is it very like chaotic and frenzied, and a lot of these like sweeping tracking movement shots? Because I remember a lot of that in Evil Dead Rise.
I mean, there is some of that for sure. I mean, it's definitely the idea of a director. It's not generic, but that doesn't mean it's really good. Unfortunately.
No, but that's a very positive thing, especially when you're talking about an interpretation of The Mummy. The worst thing it could be is generic, probably.
I mean, it is a weird one to talk about because it's not generic in the sense that it's not like other mummy movies, but at the same time, it has a lot of classic horror tropes that you would expect, and you can tell that that's where it's going with some of that stuff.
Right.
Like, okay, so let's do a little bit of housekeeping first. Blumhouse movie, and it's like one of those new takes on old Universal monsters like The Invisible Man. They keep doing these monster movies and they do a new take, and they usually take a new horror director or like an author of that kind, and they give them these characters to kind of like reinvent. So I was curious to see what they were cooking, and this is a very strange film. So basically the premise is there's if you can believe that, there's an ancient Egyptian curse.
You're saying this film's not generic?
I mean, you need to start from there.
Yeah, no, of course.
But yeah, like we open on this family, and it looks like they're like a regular family, but the mom is a bit weird. And then they come back home. This is the opening sequence. They have like a cage with some birds, their house pets. They are all dead. So that's the signal that something creepy and weird is going on. And the mother and the father go into the basement, and it's revealed that in the basement of their house, there's like this old crypt shaped like an ancient pyramid. And within this crypt, there's a sarcophagus. And within that sarcophagus, there is something that we don't know what that is. But, it's later revealed it's a demon of Egyptian origin.
Yeah.
And basically what happens next as we are, like the movie starts proper and we're introduced to the main family. The actors who play the parents are Jack Rayner, the guy from Midsommar.
Oh, fake Chris Pratt.
Yeah, like he looks kind of like
Yeah,
Chris Pratt
yeah.
a lot, and especially looked like Chris Pratt in that Transformers movie, the
Right.
one where he dates Mark Wahlberg's daughter.
Fortunately, Tommy, I have not seen that Transformers movie.
You said unfortunately or fortunately?
No, I said fortunately.
Yeah, because I remember this guy because there's this iconic scene in that movie where he's dating Mark Wahlberg's daughter.
And she stuffs him into a hollowed out bear carcass and drugs him up and makes him sacrifice and burns him on an altar. And does that happen in Transformers as well? Because that would be very weird.
I think you're mixing movies up, but just as horrific in this case. Very different, but horrific anyway. Basically, Mark Wahlberg's daughter, in his opinion, is too young to date this guy, and he has printed and laminated this section of, I think, the American Constitution or something like that says that like a rule, like a law that allows teenagers that have met when they were teenagers, even if one of them is not a teenager anymore, they can date. So it's like, it's okay, I'm not a pedophile. It's kind of like the kind of stuff that you think Michael Bay would know for some reason, and people were clowning on him for that. But like, anyway, this is like the weirdest tangent I've ever been on. But every time I see that guy, I remember this scene from Transformers. And the wife is actually Leia Costa. You know this actress?
She looks familiar.
I know her because she was the protagonist of an amazing movie that you probably have seen, which is Victoria. You know that one take film, like German movie?
Oh, she's right. I haven't seen it, but it's been on my watch list for a long time. I've heard very good things.
That's a great little film, and I haven't seen her in much else. Probably she's very successful in Spain or whatever, but like I haven't seen her in many movies, and when I saw her, I was like, oh my god, I know her. And yeah, she's from Victoria, which is a great film that I recommend over this one, where basically they are living and working in Egypt, and they have 2 children, and she's pregnant with a third one. The oldest sister, she's like 10 years old, she goes into the garden to play and she disappears. And then, there's like an investigator on the scene that tries to find out what happened. But then we cut to 10 years later, and they are back home in Albuquerque, New Mexico. For some reason, they decided to set this in the hometown of Breaking Bad and all that stuff. So I was like,
It's a little bit deserty. I get their thinking.
yeah, I guess that's the reasoning. And basically, they get a call that they found their daughter like 10 years after the fact. And she was held in a sarcophagus, which is the one that we saw at the beginning. They found her because she fell from an airplane. And so, the doctors are like, oh, she's catatonic. Her skin has not seen the light of the sun for like years and years. And she doesn't speak and she doesn't know where she is. But, take her home. All she needs now is the love of her family to come back, to recover. So they take this weird, wrinkly young girl who's clearly traumatized and doesn't say a word and just stares into the middle distance with like vacant eyes.
Yeah.
They take her home to Albuquerque, where I call her Victoria, Laia Costa's mother is also with them. They live in this big colonial house and they take care of this young girl, but she's evil.
Of course. I suppose, is that when you mean like there is like this very generic horror movie tropes going on there? Because we just did recently a rewatch of Scary Movie 5.
Yeah.
They do a parody of Mama. The whole trope of, oh, we adopt this cute little girl, but actually inside of her is a demon or something like that. And you've seen Case 39. There's quite a few horror movies that do this.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And now that I gave you the premise, I think you can get what I mean. Like, it is not generic for The Mummy movie,
Yeah.
but it is generic for a horror movie.
Yeah, fair.
It's a possessed girl. It's basically The Exorcist with an Egyptian coat of paint. Like, the reason why she's possessed is not like a demon from regular hell, but a demon from Egyptian like lore and folklore.
Right, okay. Do you see a mummy in this then?
She is the mummy.
She is a
Because
mummy, but
she
does she
was-
look like a mummy? Like, with the bandages wrapped around? Like, you know what I mean?
She does look like a mummy at the beginning because they wrap her in this silk, but then she just looks like a regular girl. Then her skin is peeling off, and it's almost like under the skin she has like layers of stuff.
Right, yeah,
But
yeah,
she
yeah.
doesn't look like the classic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So more demonic possession looking, yeah.
Yeah, she looks, and also there's this potentially interesting thing, because the wife, she's a nurse, and of course they make her a nurse so that they can justify the idea that they bring this girl home, because she's like, oh, she's my daughter, I'm a nurse, I can take care of her. The grandmother also wants to help, while the father is guilt-ridden because he was the one that was looking after the kids when she got kidnapped. So, like there's this unspoken tension between the wife and the husband. She blames him and he blames himself, but he kind of like deflects that. And also, in the meantime, while they were grieving over the loss of their daughter, they had a new child, this younger girl who's like the younger sister, and the older brother as well. And they also have like this strange relationship with the sister, like the possessed sister. But as soon as they go back to that house, it just becomes your standard like haunted house affair. Something horrible happens to some of the people in the house.
Yeah.
I won't spoil who, but make an educated guess on who dies first between the father, the mother, and the grandmother.
I would say the father.
No,
Okay,
he sticks
okay,
around.
fair,
He sticks
fair.
around till the end. Yeah, because he's the one that has the arc that he needs to go to, that he has to accept the guilt and try and find a way to help his daughter now. And there is some stuff that makes you go, oh, okay.
So it's good when movies have a little bit of stuff in it.
Isn't it just? Honestly, it's just very boring, very predictable. And when it tries to be scary, honestly, I didn't feel it. It didn't work for me. There's some moments that are almost comical.
Right. Unintentional?
I mean, some of it is unintentional and some of it is definitely intentional.
Right.
Like, I give you an example. It's not a huge spoiler, but basically at some point, the possessed girl, she pukes on the floor. She's in her room on the first floor of this house. And she pukes and her vomit is kind of like acidic. And well, all vomit is acidic. Like, what I mean is it literally starts melting the floor.
Right.
But
yeah,
nobody cleans that up. And it starts like leaking through and creating a hole in the wall that like leaks through onto the floor of the living room underneath. And then, like she jumps through this hole and attacks a person. But like, you're just thinking, what is happening? Why is nobody cleaning that up? Why? And people were there when she was puking, so they knew that she did that.
Yeah.
There's so many little inconsistencies there. But yeah, the movie becomes interesting again at some point because we go back to Egypt and we go back to this detective woman who found the girl, and now she's investigating and trying to uncover the mystery of this curse and what happened and why she was kidnapped. But also a thing that I kind of found strange that they decided to do it that way, because as I mentioned to you, we see all of this in the beginning. We see the family, we see that they have a crypt in their basement, we understand that they are taking care of this demon and that something is happening and they need to give this demon something, which we understand it's gonna be the girl, to feed him or keep it calm, to avoid like some kind of apocalyptic event, right? Like that's what you get from the opening scene. And then we spend like 20 minutes of the movie with this investigator, with this detective, trying to figure stuff out that we already know, that we already get at the beginning of the film. So it's stuff like that that makes you go, maybe less is more. You can keep it vague. We don't need to know, it just needs to be an Egyptian demon. That's fine.
Yeah.
But they try to explain it, and then this other character comes back, the daughter of this family that kidnapped the girl at the beginning, and she has a role in it. But it just, I don't know. It was boring. It was overlong. It wasn't scary.
So I'm assuming you're not recommending this to me right now.
I mean, if you like horror and you like to see horror stuff, there's always a new spin that you can put on things. Maybe there is something to appreciate in the film, but no, I wouldn't recommend it to like casual. Like, I would only recommend this to like horror fans that want to see a horror take on the Mummy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is basically The Exorcist, but in Egypt. Partially.
Yeah, that's fair. It's funny because I'm pretty sure around the time when Tom Cruise's The Mummy came out, there was a little bit of like controversy around it. I can't remember who was making these claims but it was like something like Egyptians being sick of their burial traditions being made into a horror. How it's like incredibly offensive to them and stuff like that. But clearly that has died down, and they're all back in, especially if they're doing another Brendan Fraser version of The Mummy as well. So it's.
I mean, as long as the money comes in.
Just completely randomly last night I watched The Mummy. I didn't finish it because I was watching it in bed, but like the Brendan Fraser one, and my God, Such a good film.
What a classic. We should do a little retrospective. one day.
100%. It's so epic in scope as well, and but I know you could definitely do like a more tight knit, close horror story, take on the Mummy franchise, and it's a shame this wasn't the one.
Yeah, it's probably better than the Tom Cruise one. I've never seen that
Me
one,
neither.
so I'm not sure. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay.
Yeah, cool.
No.